All right, Klefbombers, we're back. The finals is over. It's in the books. We have a new champion, our first champion, really, if you wanna go like that.
Touche.
Week
First
14,
decisive champion.
week 14 in the books. I think we're both pretty much fantasy hockeyed out at this point. I know we were talking. I was pretty much tapped out last week, but I still had to compete for the third place, and you were off last week except for your other league. But now that's, I think, concluded. So you're ready to tap it up and wrap up the season. So we're doing our Dynasty Klefbom wrap-up show here for the NHL season. A lot of people might be going into playoffs right now, but good luck.
And to be honest, this is kind of the time that, as a league commissioner myself, I think about this ahead of time. This is where some teams start sitting guys, or starting their backup goalies more because they've got an advantage and stuff like that, which comes into play more so than everything that's already come into play this season already with postponed games and stuff like that. That I try to keep it as far away from the end of the season. So that's part of why we strategically decided to keep it to the 10 weeks plus the playoffs. But I know some playoffs are going all the way to the last week, which, if you haven't looked ahead yet, the Sunday there's which is May 2nd, which is the final week, is only one game. It's Detroit versus Tampa Bay. So looking ahead, if you need stuff, if you're assuming there's going to be games to grab stuff on a Sunday, won't be there.
Yeah, I would hate to have my season come down to a week where people are resting their starters for playoffs and stuff. That would drive me bonkers. So I'm glad we're wrapping up already. We had as good of a COVID season as you could possibly in fantasy. We avoided the league falling apart, so that's always a bonus.
And they also, I don't know if you noticed the message that came up on Yahoo about scoring after May 2nd.
No, I didn't.
They said that because of the postponed games and the likelihood of games being pushed till after that date, as of this Sunday is the May 2nd, as of May 3rd, they'll no longer count any stats towards anything. So AKA, if any games are canceled between now and the conclusion of your season that get pushed beyond that date, you're just straight out losing those games. You're not getting them pushed to just maybe, from like the Leafs were pushed from Saturday to Sunday. Yeah, it's only one day, but you still get it in the same matchup. Where if they got pushed from Sunday to Monday, now you're in another matchup. And if that's no longer your final, they're not going to retro that back to your league. So it's going to get interesting down the stretch. I hope people don't get screwed kind of too much beyond it. But I like you said, we're kind of fantasied out, and I'm kind of glad that they're winding down and getting into actual real playoff hockey, which is going to be the next kind of phase here.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is going to be fun. But yeah, definitely congrats, Joey.
Yeah, Joey, my man.
That would have been not my top 5 picks. I probably would have got down past 5 or 6 before I picked him to win. I feel slightly responsible from giving him flurry, basically.
Totally your fault.
Then I was talking to Jamie, and then he's like, if you want to say it that way, then technically it's Sean's fault for giving him to me for 13th for a 14th. Sean gave him to me for a 13th, 14th, and I turned around and traded for, I think it was a 6th for an 8th.
Yeah.
So we both didn't, we both didn't capitalize on
it. You offered Fleury to me countless times. And I was like, no, I don't want him. I don't want him. But yeah, so it is what it is. Congrats, Joey, for sure. He proved that you don't need to pay attention week in, week out to win our league, apparently. We got you and me and some other people that are 7 ads a week going handball baloney, and then there's him. I picture him during the season in a hammock drinking a margarita while everyone else is panicking. He's just drinking his margarita and come playoff. And to be honest, a lot of his team, it was do or die with that one with the Winnipeg Jets. His Winnipeg Jets, Scheifele, Connor, and Pionk together, they would often along with Marner, but those 3 would often get in a goal on Winnipeg. All of them are in on that goal. So he gets 3 points in one goal, and that happened. I saw it happen at least twice, all 3 of them. Yep.
That's back-to-back years, I guess, now that if you stack on the right guys, you can win. But I mean, that's to go without saying. When I always say that I don't believe in stacking, if you get the right stack, yes, do it. But I'm not going out of my way to get a stack. If I'm offered a trade and it's an equal player, but it's a stack, I'd say no.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I
get it for sure. And mind you, if Winnipeg had a week where definitely in the finals they get shut out twice, then he's in trouble. And like
Yes, for
when
sure.
he was against me last week in the semis, they only played 3 times, so they had less games. And one of the games they didn't get any points, so I had a shot, and I
And what
lost.
if but what if the schedule had actually had them versus Vancouver that week, and they got
Exactly.
all their games postponed? He
He,
would have been out in the first round.
yep. Damn it.
So like it's dangerous, right? Like
Yeah.
it would have flipped everything upside down.
But
But regardless, it doesn't matter, how many, and you got there, and it's a championship. I'm impressed, and
I'm
congrats.
impressed. Congratulations for
And
sure.
also congrats again to Jamie, like, for winning. That's again, to if you asked me to list my odds at the beginning of the year, those are two guys I would not have had towards the top. So I got to say I was wrong, and respect is out to that. So congrats to both of you.
Yep, for sure.
Sure. But yeah, so let's get to the waiver bids. I guess there's only one of them, which was pretty funny because Joey, to go for hits in the last day, he dropped Quinn Hughes for, I believe it was Ryan Reeves, no, Matt Martin, to grab some hits, to try and beat Jamie after he grabbed Ristolainen, and Joey put a bid in to get him back off waivers for $20. So I'm glad I told him earlier in the season, you can get your own guy back. So I guess he was just waiting, keeping that trick in his pocket for when he needed it. But
I don't get why he only bids $20. Why didn't he bet his whole wad?
I think he probably figured that no one was looking at that.
I didn't even know. I didn't even see Hughes hit the wire. I didn't even see that.
He did it really quietly. There was a bunch of transactions, and he just kind of dropped them quietly on the day where it came out. The postponed games were pushed further. And he dropped him, and everyone, I guess, was just not paying attention, really.
Well, there was one person paying attention.
Yeah, so he paid 41. But yeah, Joey should have just paid for all, but I guess he paid to win the championship. He gave up Hughes, which, to be honest, I don't think is, that much. Like, yeah, he's a good piece, but like, I don't know.
I guess Nick's planning. He's planning to send him back to Joey, sell him back to Joey, which I guess
that's what I thought.
That
was my first thought.
Or he's keeping him himself, but I know on my team, Hughes wouldn't even register as a keeper to me. So I don't think it's that big of a loss.
Specific strategy, and next year he definitely wouldn't fit that for me. Plus, I didn't have any ads. Not that I would have spent it on him necessarily, but
yeah. Well, knowing you're always looking for guys to flip, and you would be in there. Maybe
outside of defensemen. Defensemen are maybe the asterisk to that rule. Just
because fair enough.
I like specific type of defenseman, and he doesn't really fit that type for me.
Yeah,
like, I like the Ristolainens. I like the nurses. I like the the guys who bring me my hits. So like that's why he doesn't really. But at the same time, you know what? You know who screwed me twice in the last 3 weeks? Who killed me with game-winning goals in one of the last games of the week?
The defenseman.
Yes, Tyson Barrie. He's killed me all year. It's been so irritating. Like, Jamie got a game-winning goal when we played. I ended up beating him, but he almost ended up taking it back. And then I lost twice in my other league because of that.
I would think if you look back at my team's game-winning goals on the season, a majority of them, a good 20% of them, come from my defensemen. Hedman got a couple, and Theodore got a couple for sure.
Yeah. If you have that defenseman that gets the power play time, or gets like
the shots,
power plays anyways, or the shots, that they're guys. But I just, like, of all guys this season, my seasons in both pools basically came down to goalies being silly and Tyson Barrie and Brian Elliott. And if I would have told you before the year that Tyson Barrie and Brian Elliott were the two things that were basically going to sink my season, I would have told you were so silly, and that, like, give me like 200 more names before those guys would be the guys that sink me.
Exactly.
Like,
that's hilarious.
I couldn't believe it, but yeah. But that being said, with kind of the keepers as well, both Dylan and Nick have added a bunch more guys just to kind of keep. But from me doing my questions and set up for the keepers, I've realized that a lot of people have, like, majority of people have 3 guys that they're already set on.
Yeah.
And some guys, there's a couple guys that have a little less. I think actually you're the least certain I have out of anybody, but that's just, I think, because you don't even know yet.
Pretty sure I know my 4 now.
Yeah, I don't think you're keeping Wilson anymore. I think
he's trash.
His neutering kind of kicked himself off your own team in that sense.
He stepped up. The last 2 weeks he was good.
Yeah.
as a fantasy player, but he's not the player I draft. Like he didn't have the hits still. The hits are gone.
Yeah. That's what I noticed when we were kind of looking at the trade deadline, and you're like, maybe I'll move him. And I looked how many hits he didn't have, and I was like, maybe I don't want him. Like, he's not hitting like what I thought. But
He's not worth keep. I have other more valuable pieces at this point that.
What's your over under on goalies kept league wide?
I think most people over under. I would say how many teams are there? 10. I'll go 6.
So 5.5 or 6.5?
5.5.
5.5. I take the under.
Under? Oh damn! But you're already 2 goalies. I'm 2 goalies. What?
Are you?
I'm just kidding.
The amount of drool that I've had to watch you clean up over Shesterkin, I figured he's now a keeper for you.
I love that boy. He is my new friend. I love him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a closet ranger boy now. Cause
if I would have won the fantasy season, because I think I told you that my way of if I win, my trophy is to get a jersey of the player that I feel like I would have got a Shesterkin jersey.
I would have been like, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, but
if I see, that would be tough if I win. You know what I'd have to do?
Draisaitl, Brady Tkachuk.
I'd have to do it. I'd have to.
Yeah, so
I feel so wrong, but I would do it.
So I don't know what I'll do with my other team wins because we're going into the playoffs. That starts this week. I don't know. I already have a Fleury jersey, or otherwise I'd get him. But maybe I don't know who I got. I got to take a look at what. Maybe the playoffs will let me decide who carries me in the playoffs. I'll probably get their jersey.
See, on my other team, I think it's pretty easy. I think I'd have to go with Ovi.
Yeah.
Just because I don't, and with everything that's going on, and with him, I shouldn't say winding down, but on the back half of whatever he has left, I think it's an appropriate time to
honor the man.
Invest in Ovi, yeah. Especially for a Jersey guy. Like, I guess we're both Jersey guys, but like the only thing I hate about jerseys, you can't really display them that well.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only kind of beef with them. But
I love jerseys, but I only have 2 that I only have 2, but I love them. But so it's a collection I'm hoping to grow. Right now, I don't know if you saw my one video. Like I'm collecting hats, so I'm trying to.
Unboxing. I did watch it.
Yeah, so I got some cool hats, and I'm pretty pumped
about it. Anyways, I got busy. I saw your first 3.
Okay. The last one was, I think, the Diamondbacks one. That one was cool.
Oh, I missed Diamondbacks? Damn it. That probably would have been my favorite one.
What? You didn't like that Rays one?
Rays one was nice. I wasn't a big fan of who was the
first?
Was it Bo Sox was first, right? The blue one?
It's not blue. It was blackish.
Oh, it's black. It looked a little like navy blue, but yeah, okay. I wasn't sure, but yeah, that one was nice.
It was
wasn't
alright.
my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, like my favorite jersey is signed Cujo, or sorry, signed Potvin.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet.
My favorite one.
For sure.
But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see if Nick or Dylan can actually get anything out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, most people seem like their keepers are stuck. Like, so I don't know how much maneuvering you're gonna do. I have one trade lined up right now for once the off season hits.
Yeah,
it's a small trade, but it's I think the person's gonna get a good deal. I'm basically have a player that I think it's valuable personally, and I'm just want something small back. I think he's getting an amazing deal out of it. So
yeah, is it Landeskog?
Yeah,
it is.
Mm-hmm. He's gone.
Interesting.
Why do you want him?
It would be if my potential option that I'm looking at that, and I'm not even sure, I'm 50-50 on whether I want to just keep Rask anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can get that other guy,
like, I love Landeskog. I think he's definitely valuable for where he's drafted. Like, he's a 3rd round, but like
third round, yeah.
If
he was a 4th rounder, I would say yes, let's make a deal. Like, let's find a way to make this happen. But like the 3rd, tad rich for me. I mean, there's probably not gonna be better players, so I'm probably gonna regret that I didn't do that. But
Well, this year
I don't know.
specifically coming up with the weak draft, I think it's okay. Like next year, a third rounder, he wouldn't be valuable.
But
He's
that's why I'm
basically
thinking.
where he's going to be.
My line of thinking is if we go back to a traditional season
Mm-hmm.
and there's 3 games on most weeks, it's going to slide back to the goalies being valuable if they're starters.
Yep.
So that's why I'm thinking, even if I just keep the option open on Rask, if Rask does go somewhere that's like a slam dunk keeper, like a top 4 or 5 team, like let's just say Carolina for random sake. If you were to go to like a Carolina, all of a sudden I have him in Carolina with Vasi and Tampa. That makes me really hard to beat, and that's going to force anybody who plays me to have to use their ads on goalies or to go into the week carrying a third goalie to try and combat me.
Yep.
And then they're going to get away from the other strategy, and then I can hopefully, because if I only have 2 goalies, then I can take advantage of the extra skater, the extra shots, the extra hits, the extra, hopefully, production.
Yep, for sure.
So,
for sure.
See what happens there, but yeah. Going to the final standings, I guess.
Let me pull
we know we just kind of covered that Joey beat Jamie 7-5. That matchup was really tight all the way down to the final game of the week.
Yep.
There's several people who made comments about it, so obviously several people were watching to see what was unfolding. So that kind of got a lot of people's attention, and I'm happy it was a good matchup. I mean, I know I've said that the last couple podcasts. I'm just happy when things aren't just blowouts. We'll get to a couple kind of blowouts here, but there's reasons behind them. And quite honestly, they're not for the championship, so who really cares?
Do you want to? You know what's funny about this final?
What's that?
It was decided by 2 hits, a category that Joey didn't win all season.
Yes. Yeah. But he used all his ads on physical guys this week.
Yeah. He made it happen.
Jamie was, and he made him do it.
47 points Jamie got. That's insane.
Yeah, I saw that when it was 42, and I was like, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a 4 in a long time in this league.
We saw Dylan hit 50 the 1 week. That's not
the 1 week.
The 1 week, but that was it.
I think we have him that hit 50s. I think we have 3 or 4 that were in the 40s. Maybe 5 that hit there.
Yeah.
But the rest were, high 30s.
Yep.
But yeah. Then the third place, you and Dylan.
Me and Dylan, I smacked them up. Yeah.
Better team won. He added a bunch of guys he wanted to keep. He didn't. He was sick of fantasy. He just basically added the guys he wanted to see on his roster, and
he didn't have a chance
for the week.
I won game winning. If I win game winning goals, it's over. So that's what happened. Shesterkin, 2 shutout. Yeah. Like he had no chance even if he tried.
Yeah, you had a good week. I'm not saying that it was like not you went out and got it, but he also didn't show up. So
yeah.
If you combine those 2, it explains why it was 11-1.
I'll take it. I'll take the 3rd place. And
that means that I owe you $5 for next year's entry.
Yeah, buddy.
You should be like, don't send it to me, invest me, and owe me whatever it grows in 6 months.
Double down, yeah.
Then Ben sends me $80. I'm like, what are you doing? It's $70. I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know what. But
a tip. He gave you a tip.
Apparently, like maybe he's just trying to get me to go into crypto. Here's $10. Go.
But like we got to give credit here too to the constellation bracket. Big part of our
go there too.
Big part of our pool. How the hell do I pull it up?
What? The screen's all messed up.
So this in our pool, whoever wins the constellation bracket gets first overall pick in all the rounds. In this case, Jesse came out with a big win, and really, I didn't really think about it out loud, like how valuable that is. It really can set you up for a good draft next year.
It can if you own all your own picks. Like,
yeah,
it's more valuable to a guy like maybe Joey who doesn't trade as much because he still has all his own picks for the most part. But a team like me, who I think I only own 4 of my actual own picks out of 14 rounds, so like it's kind of irrelevant on where people finish.
Well, like it does have the advantage in theory. If you like your first round pick, you get 5 keepers.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because you just throw your first rounder. You get an extra year now of your first rounder too. So he, in theory, if he likes Ovechkin a lot, he'll throw him back into the draft him first overall, and then he'll have him for the next 3 years.
Reset the keeper. Yeah,
Yeah, reset the
it's true.
keeper, and then he can also keep 4 of his other guys on top of that. Which, considering his team, I think it's pretty good. Like, I think having that many extra keepers is pretty good. And unfortunate, I thought I might be able, if he had to part ways with one of them, but now he has an extra one. I don't know if he's gonna part ways with that guy anymore. I wanted him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all I got. But yeah,
Good on him. And Ben lost again. So another L. He has one win on the season. So
one win. Yeah.
unfortunately, Sean has to sit on that until next season, and he'll probably go full force at Ben and just get back at him.
Yeah.
But then that actually takes us to Sean's series where he faced Steve.
Yep.
This is just the consolation runner-up. So same thing like you mentioned. Consolation gets first pick. The loser gets second pick in each round, and then the consolation runner-ups get third and fourth, and so on throughout the draft.
But also the loser is also considered last place, which,
yeah, they're the only team that didn't make the playoffs and also didn't get a win in any kind of playoffs. They're just the biggest kind of loser. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, that honor goes to Steve. He tried though. He went handball.
Yeah, he did, and I feel bad for him, and I feel like I haven't talked to him recently necessarily on his feelings, but I feel like he's not going to be happy, because I remember at one point we were talking about how he was first in the league, and then he decided to make a couple trades, including get rid of McKinnon, and he just plummeted and just fell right down on his face.
Yeah.
I don't know how mad he is, but I feel like the temperature is quite high.
Hey, I wasn't even the one that asked about McKinnon. He threw the name out, all right? Like, it wasn't even me, all right?
I told him he was crazy for doing it. Like, I would have gone in if I didn't have the keepers I had, but...
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Here we are. We got to move on. You got to deal with the cards now that you have in your hand, and... we'll see what he can do next year. I don't know what his draft picks look like already. We can do that in the preview show for next season. Break down what everyone's looking at. But you want to do some announcements for last week's predictions?
Yeah, let's get to our final predictions that we did each week between you and I to see who came out the final winner, and it was close. It came down to one difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one different guess in the final. So kind of.
I thought we had two different.
We had two different, but we had the other ones right. So it worked out that only one was like we had two different, but I had one right.
Yeah.
And you had then one, both were incorrect. So
no, I picked myself. You were already up by one, and then we split the differences, so you're still up by one.
Oh, sorry. True.
Steve let me down there. I really thought Steve was going to win that one.
And I don't know, looking back, I mean, I think I even said I didn't think Dylan was going to try, yet I even picked him. But I think that was just more in hopes that you would take that personally and try to kick Dylan's ass.
Yeah.
Which happens, so it works.
I needed to win. The playoffs matter more for your fantasy Yahoo rating, and I'm trying to go up to my rating. So.
Plus, you get to play next year for free. So that's it sucks, but it's a small silver lining. So.
Yep.
I'd take it.
Yep. So far, free. I've been free since the beginning, so it's been good.
Yeah. So both Nick and I didn't play this week.
Yep.
But in terms of picking the championship, you had Jamie and I had Jamie, so we were both wrong on that.
Yep.
Then we went down to the next level. That's where we're just talking about how you took yourself and I took Dylan. Obviously, we were right. I was wrong. Then we went down to the next level. That was, what was it again? Steve and Sean. And I had Sean beating Steve. And you had Steve beating Sean.
Yeah.
That was the other one that we had different. And then between Ben, we had Ben losing to Jesse. So that was
safe
That
bet.
was that for the tie. Yeah, that was a safe bet. I think it's one of the safest of that week, anyways. So on the season again, we didn't really pick ties, so we're gonna try and
Incorporate
add that
it.
in next year. Yeah, we'll find a way. I
We'll
think
call it
I
tie
think your idea
insurance
was
or
good.
something. If you pick, you
Yeah,
get one tie insurance a week, and if you pick the tie insurance, you will get it right.
or we could do if you call a tie, then you get twice the points or something like that. You're taking
Yeah,
if you're picking a tie, you have more of a chance of loss, right? So
probably.
you
Yeah.
could get like 3 points. If you call a tie and get it right, you get 3 points. If you call a win or
That's
loss, you get
messy.
1 point.
That seems messy.
It's messy, but
Yeah.
risky. Yeah, we'll figure it anyways. But 31 predictions on the season for you, correct? And I was at 32.
Do you
I
know
should have done the
how many?
totals for each,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Like, what's our percentage? It seems I'm looking at a lot of twos on the side there, so that seems like it's below 50%.
yeah, well, be 13 weeks times 5. So what's 13 times 5?
75
So 75. So
minus 2, so 73. Minus a couple.
oh,
It's around 70.
73.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, minus a couple. So approximately 7. So 30 out of 70.
Whew,
So
not
40,
good.
44%. Yeah. But again, no ties. So that's actually not good.
True.
If you took
Yeah, true.
30% of the ties out of the equation, or whatever, we probably were around half. We were probably 50-50.
So we were just shooting craps, basically.
Not including ties. Exactly. We're just throwing shit at the wall, and it's not always sticking.
Yeah. Damn.
Sticks for a short moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where everything kicked off, and then to get to the announcements you were talking about.
Yep.
Just about the fees and the payouts. I know I posted in the message group, but sometimes the chat gets going, and I can imagine if you're busy for a little bit and you come and you see 37 to 412 messages missing, you're not going to read through them all.
Yeah.
So just
Guilty.
make it official, whatever. Obviously, if everybody, well, I don't blame anybody. Like sometimes even I'm looking through and I'm like, I don't have the patience for that right now. But once everybody pays up and whatnot, we'll get everything sorted out. I'll make the payouts. I'm hoping to do that next 10 days or so. A couple of people have asked if they can pay when they get paid next. I understand things are kind of weird and tight and everything for everyone right now, so I'm not going to be like, yeah, well, no, pay for fantasy. So
Yeah.
if you need a little time, let me know. But just know that obviously things are also a little tight on my end, so I can't kind of pay out the payouts either like up front necessarily. I just kind of recycle the payouts into the next year, which is the smartest way obviously to do it. But yeah. If we ever stop playing, then I'm screwed at that point.
Yeah, well, it seems like you got a little bit of a Ponzi scheme going on there with what you just said.
Well, assuming it happens every year, the money will just feed itself, right, for everybody for the next winners.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if hockey were to stop or if the league just crumbles or something like that, then at that point I would take a big hit, especially as we go up in $10 per entry per person every year.
Yeah.
If it happens to be after 6 years it goes away, there's going to be
should probably start putting a little bit into the actual side.
I actually have started. I have another account in my bank where I've actually started. The last couple of paychecks, I've put $50 in there. I think I'm at 300 something right now. So right now, if I had to, I could actually make the payouts.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's all I want to hear.
There's no rush.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then I mentioned about the deadline of the keepers to be picked shortly, but there was a lot of feedback just saying let's push it back. I didn't even think about free agency, to be completely honest. I was just like thinking of normal years. Okay, let's pick this normal date. Like, this is when things are happening. So that was on me. That was an oversight for me.
Yeah.
Totally, I agree. Maybe we'll go September 1st or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes it a little tough because whenever fantasy closes down, I don't know when that is. It's just kind of like
random
overnight one night. And if everything isn't done before that day happens, then I have to do everything manually when it opens in September, assuming that's when it opens. So like it's a lot less work if people assign their keepers now than waiting for later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if things are going to be restrictive and things aren't working and we want to wait anyways, and it just comes with being commissioner, and I don't mind doing it. So whatever works. And then the last thing was just the manual transactions you saw today. And if you actually scroll down lower than the manual transactions on the website, it will tell you all the stuff that I'm doing on the back end. I don't know if you've ever looked at that or if anyone's ever looked at that, but if you scroll underneath, it says like, let's say I added $50 to your wallet, or let's say I gave you 4 more ads.
Yeah.
Or let's say I added somebody or did something like that, or changed a roster spot or something like that. It will say down there what I'm doing. So that's the track record of anything I'm doing. So it will show the addition of players. So if you go to the league page,
yep,
and you scroll down past where it says the most recent messages, it says commissioner updates.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah,
and
I've seen that before.
That I've changed the roster moves from 58 to 60 and 65 to 58 and some other things in there. But just in case you noticed that recently, 6 hours ago, I changed Nick's ads.
Yeah,
that was because I was trying to move Forsberg and Marchand back to his team as per prior agreement of trades. But then Yahoo said that because Nick had used his max ads, I wasn't allowed to add a player, which then I was like, why does it matter? The season's over. Like, yeah, whatever. So I had to change his ad limit from 60 to 58, added the 2 players. But you know what's funny is that when I added the 2 players, the ads stayed at 58. And then I had to go back in and change the ads from 58 to 60. So I'm like, why would you restrict it, but then not use the ads to like go back up to 60? So, I mean, I fixed it, but that's why it just explains why the 2 ads and then why it's 60 to 58 and 58 to 60. So it's just manual stuff. But that for those 2 guys, imagine I have to do that for every pick and every player and every keeper that goes through the transaction. I have to do that manual 1 click. So like when I add a player to a team, I have to search by name and enter.
Okay.
And then go back to the screen, pick the team, edit their roster, pick the player, add the 1 guy. So like to do that multiple times, if it's 2 or 3 times, who cares? But if it's like 15 times, it's a lot of manual silly labor. So like that's why I want to get as much done as possible beforehand.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see where that takes us. But I just wanted to explain why that Marchand and Forsberg thing. And if anyone else has any conditional trades pending, just make sure they let me know on the conclusion.
Yeah, I thought
that is their conclusion or later.
I thought Beers and Jamie had a trade that they had to do because of like Crosby or something.
Yeah, there was some sort of something like that, but I didn't know if it was Beers was keeping Crosby and then trading him back next year, or if it was at this draft. I was waiting to get that information off Jamie.
Makes sense.
But to be honest, the other thing actually I should probably bring up, I was too busy talking to Jamie earlier about something else that I forgot to mention that. And what I was talking to Jamie specifically about was guys drafted in year 1. I think it was only Jamie who upkept players, kept players up the draft higher than their original picks. One example that I knew specifically was Braden Point.
Yeah.
So Braden Point in year 1, he was taken in the 6th round. Because Jamie had 2 6th rounders and a 5th rounder, he kept that 6th rounder in the 4th round.
Yeah.
So through this past draft, he was actually a 4th rounder. Well, now to keep him this year, it goes back to a 6th if he has it. It goes back to the original time they were drafted. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you upkeep 1 year, it always defaults back. So I was making that clear to him just because I wanted to reach out to him to let him know, because I know that he was going to start looking at his draft picks and stuff. And looking at his draft picks, I know that would change his mind of thought. So if it does for anybody else as well.
I think he's the only one that had that happen to him.
I think so. That's all I could recall off the top of my head, because I think he had 2 of them, and I think that was all that there was league-wide. But if anybody's thinking about it moving forward and they just think of it as taking a hit this year, like maybe you kind of forgot to plan ahead and maybe you take a 3rd instead of a 5th to get through this year, that's an option, right? Because they'll go back to a 5th next year. So just things to consider. But that's what I had brought up to him. So if anyone else was thinking about it as well,
I like it.
I forgot to look into that angle as well. So I think that's it in terms of the wrap-up show, unless you had anything else.
Nope. Just good fight, everyone. It was a battle all year. I probably have some gray hairs after this year. And next year, I'm going to go a little easier. I'm not going to call my shot winning all season long. So,
yeah,
it's all right. I'm going to I'll be good.
Yeah, the veteran battle scars now.
Yeah, yeah, and it was nice. It was nice you showing that the stats of the average finish of all the teams over the course of the 2 seasons, and I'm up top, and I appreciate that. That felt good.
I figured you would like that. And did you notice how I put the numbers on the first year?
Yeah, I did.
I did the golf system, so I figured it was most fair to do that. So, averaging out the four, so I used the top four and I ranked them all four.
Yeah,
there's 4 ties, so it's 4 instead of 4 at 1.
Yeah,
it's 4 people at 4. So, averaging out each season, that will be the only asterisk, but it'll be fun to watch, assuming this goes for multiple years, to see long-term success of specific strategies or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there next year. You know that. So
my goal, if I have one goal that's going to be my main mission, is I do not want to miss the playoffs. I don't care if I win a President's Trophy. I'd love to win one, but realistically, I don't actually believe I can. Like, it takes a perfect season, right?
I think there's a lot of luck involved in a President's Trophy. At least this year. I was so
this league too. The amount of ties and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
it's gonna be interesting. It's a longer season next year. We're gonna have 40 more ads, but people are gonna forget that it catches you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm gonna specifically plan towards that.
I'm going on the Joey strategy for the first 7 weeks.
There's nothing. That's next year. I will say I'm not going to do what I did this year in terms of ads, but we all know what I talked about in the past about why I did that.
Yeah.
But I next year I will be amongst the teams that will be very, probably be really active for week 1 and maybe week 2. But then I'll probably just like quiet for 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Well, you're going to be crazy on the trade market as per usual. So.
Yes. I'm going to be probably trying to acquire trades more than ads next year. And actually, it's funny. I'll bring that up right now. Last thing. Where was that? Let me see if I can find this page really quickly. So I can pull up the transactions page where it shows not only how many ads, but how many trades people have done.
Okay.
So it says that well, obviously it's true because it's tracked it, but I have 27 trades. I'm in first place.
Wow.
27 trades in one season in a shortened season.
Yeah.
You know, I was active. I also, for the record, was the only person to trade with every team. Second place was Nick with 18. Third place was Steve at 14.
Wow.
Then beyond that, 2 people were tied in you and Ben with 12. And then everyone else is single digits.
Wow. There's
6 teams in double digits.
That's a lot of trades.
And I have 27. Wow. What would that be? Hold on.
That's over 100.
18, 19. So if you combine the bottom 6 guys, I have more trades than the bottom 6 combined.
Wow. Wow.
Suck on that and beat that for next season.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not gonna...
I think we briefly talked about watching the 5 games, perhaps.
For baseball, though, right?
Forward.
You said, or do you want it to be hockey?
Baseball and
yeah,
both. I'll do both.
Sounds good to me.
Do some baseball, playoff hockey. We could even surf between the two, depending on what kind of games are piquing our interest or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. See where it goes. Got something else to talk about.
Yeah, for real. We'll just do like a hangout show. We can do it live, and if anyone joins, we can talk to them. Sounds good.
Yeah, or if they have live questions, we can answer them or give our opinions and shit.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Wicked. Take it easy.
You too, man. Take care. Bye.